Have you got your water? Because
Yeah.
you know what, the actual first time I actually ever done this show, I had done it, so obviously when I was working on Celebrity Brother, and they were like, can you just come in and do it? And I was like, okay, cool. I literally talked for 2 hours by myself, and I didn't have a guest, and I didn't run out of things to say, because I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fine, I was just talking about like sports and whatever, but my mouth was so dry, like my throat was actually killing me after like 2. And people do shows like that, actually on the radio and stuff, and podcasts, they'll do it by themselves, some people. And
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, but
crazy.
you need to have you need lemon and ginger tea in here. You've got a kettle, haven't you?
Yeah, but water's fine, because if you're doing it by yourself, if you're doing it with someone, you can just talk.
Yeah, fine.
Like, you're having a conversation.
What were you talking about for 2 hours by yourself?
Football, UFC, boxing, and I didn't run out of things to say, but it was so weird because you're not getting a reaction back from someone, and you're literally just blurting things out.
Do you know when I first met you on Soccer Aid, I knew you were a yapper. Like, I knew that
Really?
you could talk straight away.
Why do you think? Why is that?
Because I feel like when I go up to a lot of people, I expect conversation because I'm like that.
Yeah.
And loads of people they don't have it straight away,
Yeah.
and you straight away could answer questions.
Yeah, do you know what though? I think I have always been like that, but I think when you are younger and you're like that, quite, what's the word, extroverted, I think it's
Yeah.
called. You assume everyone's like that when you're younger, and then when you go out, you sort of realise everyone's not like you. And then I think a lot of people, like I would always think, oh, they're a bit rude, but I think a lot of people are just naturally like that.
Yeah.
Whether they're shy or whatever, but a lot of people are just not very. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes time for people to warm up, I think.
Yeah, and even then, some people are still just more reserved.
Yeah.
But
then I just think in our industry, how do you survive? Because I think like networking's important.
Yeah.
Social skills is like the main skill to have in any of the roles. Starting off, don't know how people who don't have the ability to talk to anyone survive.
Yeah, exactly. Can you just move forward just a bit so it's a bit more thing?
Yeah,
that's fine. But yeah, I agree, because I feel like with TV, I feel like you to sort of work in this industry, you do have to be very social, because you want people to like you, because the people that want to work with you again, they want to, obviously you have to be good at your job, but you have to be like, people want to spend 10 hours a day with you, kind of thing. It's very important to sort of be good at that. And I remember once I saw have you ever heard of Copper 90?
No, what is it?
So it's like this YouTube channel, and they would do like these really good like football documentaries and football sort of related videos like that, and they've been doing it for years. But Maya Jama used to work for them like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And anyway, I remember seeing an interview with her maybe like 6 or 7 years ago when she came back just for an interview. And someone asked the question like, what is the best advice you can give to people that want to work in like TV in this industry? And she said, and it always just resonated with me, she was like, you should always be nice to people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. And it's like, you should always be nice to people anyway. But she said, when you're like at the bottom and someone's not very nice to you, in 5-10 years time, you could be like the one that could be hiring them potentially, and you're gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna hire that person. And it always resonated with me, because I always think you should be nice anyway, but it just, something about that, and I was like, yeah.
And she is right. And also when we do our jobs, sometimes we're working 11-12 hours together, or like really long periods of time stuck in a small room with people. You want to be around nice people.
Yeah, and I think you have to also understand as well is like, you have a lot of people that sometimes you can't take it personally if people aren't very, say, like in a good mood or whatever, because people are working hard, they're under stress, they're under pressure and stuff like that. But anyway, I want to know more about you. So how did you get into TV? Like, where did you start? What made you want to get into it, kind of thing?
So I'd always wanted to be on TV since I've been younger, like on TV, front of screen.
On screen, yeah.
But then I started to fall in love with being behind it as well, because I was fascinated by all of like reality TV. I've been such a reality TV obsessive since I've been younger.
Yeah.
And then I went to uni, studied TV production, and I'm not going to lie, it was quite boring. Like,
really?
Most of it was written, and then the times when we got to do like the practical projects in the TV studios, like we got to write our own script, make like a reality TV show, do all of that, then it was fun. But still, I didn't learn that much about TV. It was like the theory behind it. So coming out of it, I was thinking, was that degree helpful at all?
Was it worth it? Yeah.
The lecturers were amazing, and the people I met were amazing, so I would do it again. But coming out of it, I wasn't hopeful. Went into lockdown, applied for loads of apprenticeships for TV because wasn't getting any luck. And all of the roles that I'd applied for had gone to people like already in the company because of lockdown, that they just handed it to people internally.
Right.
And then finally, ITV came out with the traineeship scheme, which was new that year. And it's basically to get people in like who had never done TV, but train them to be researchers straight away. Oh, okay. So you do one whole year as a trainee researcher, and you skip the runner position. And then there were 6 positions for scripted shows in ITV, and then 6 positions for non-scripted, and then people got put around companies like Lifted, Potato. I did development.
Right.
You do that for a year.
So okay, so you started in ITV. So did you have to move you're from Leeds?
Yeah.
Did you have to move from Leeds down to London to do that?
Half at home because it was still COVID.
Right.
And then I'd have like 3 days a week in London, which was interesting because I haven't really gone back and forth that much without my parents. So like learning to travel here was...
Sorry, how old were you? Like 21, 22?
21, I think.
Right.
21. And
wow.
yeah, so it was scary, but I'd always wanted to do it. And also everyone on the scheme, most of them were from different areas around the UK. Like my best friends who I met, 2 of them were from Birmingham, 1 of them was from Wales, and then a few of them had lived in London, so I knew that other people were coming from other places by themselves as well. Yeah, that's
pretty good. And then, sort of, what was like the first show or production that you worked on? Because you said you started in development, so how did that sort of come about?
Yeah, so my scheme that I ended up going on was a development trainee, and I didn't know much about it, but because I'd written blogs before, like I was writing a lot, I told them that, so they put me in that. And that was in the ITV offices, and it was under ITV daytime. Right. So we'd get like briefs from commissioners once a week, and they'd say like Channel 4 want a celebrity-led health documentary. Go and research celebrities who've got health issues, write a like PowerPoint presentation as to why we should put them on TV. Like you have to find their social stats, why you think they'd be popular, why commissioners would like them, pitch it, and then like go through that. So it wasn't like technically a company like at ITV, it was just under ITV daytime.
Yeah, umbrella, yeah.
And then during that I started doing running as well because they wanted me to have experience. One of their shows that they created that still goes on now is John and Lisa's Weekend Kitchen.
Yep.
So ran on that, and then they got me on This Morning as well.
Oh, fun. How was This Morning?
Intense.
Yeah.
I started at Christmas, and I think the first day I did like 54,000 steps. I was knackered.
The first day?
Yeah, because it was like the start of the Christmas period, so it was manic.
Yeah.
And I knew running was hard, but I didn't know how hard it was, and I think that really humbled me.
Yeah.
Because I like going into the scheme, I had been put up a little bit, like development wasn't easy, and you have to have a thick skin because you get loads of no's. Like you could work a month on a project, write up a whole series, and then commissioners could be like, nah.
You know, that's why I've never really found development interesting. I think it's cool to come up with ideas, but I just think it's not really the no's that put me off. I feel like you just hardly get anywhere. Yeah. And I feel like with these broadcasters, they don't really want to take risks, and they say there's not any money in this and that. I've just never found it interesting at all. Like that's how I started in TV. I'd like done a development internship, and which was cool, and I enjoyed it. But I just feel like I've never ever wanted to do it in my actual career. I just find it so... I like, you know, when you're working on a show, say like Big Brother or whatever, Love Island or whatever, and you've got games and tasks, you could literally come up with an idea that day, and then the next day it's on TV. That's what I think is fun, because you can actually... You know that something you've made is going to be on there.
Yeah.
But I guess everyone's different. But yeah, what would you say has like been your career highlight so far? Like certain job or certain moment or whatever?
Soccer Ed was a career highlight for sure, which we met on.
Yep.
That show had been on my bucket list for ages.
Why did you want to get into that? You were into football and like...
No, literally knew nothing about football, but I liked the like celebrity side because I'd got a lot of like celeb knowledge. Yeah. I wanted to learn about sports because I think like sports and journalism is really fun. Yeah. And I like the idea of being able to have like a lot of creative input, which I'd heard the team was nice. Yeah. And they allow you to do that, which is true. Like each year they sit with the researchers and they actually listen to your ideas and they let you have creative input on how the show would go. Yeah. I also like the fact that it was live TV, and obviously This Morning was live, but doing it as a researcher level and doing the match on the day was so different, and I like the adrenaline of that.
What were you actually doing on that day? Because obviously, obviously I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I just assumed most of the content was at the training. Because obviously, during the game you can't affect anything. So what was actually going on? What was... So
like as in like when I started or during the day?
No. So like during the game day.
Oh yeah.
What was? Because obviously I saw you guys running around, but what did you actually have to do? Because I just assumed everything was done because the game's happening.
So we were all like assigned a presenter. So Jude was with like the commentators, which is like Vicky McClaw
and Sam Matterface, I think.
Yeah. And then Lucy was Lucy was with Dermot, and me and Jazz were with Alex Scott, and we were basically like handing her cards, briefing her, going through the whole like schedule of the day and making sure she gets from point to point, and like if she needs cue cards to remember her lines, briefing her about each point. So if she'll go over to like the phone section, we'll be like, you're going to talk to this person now, blah blah blah. And we essentially just did that, and we're basically like her guides throughout the whole show.
Right.
More so Jazz, I was learning what they would be doing, so maybe if I went back then I could do it again.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Because it was quite manic. I mean, for us, because there's so many runners, you can kind of like not get away with it, but there's so much like once the game's on kind of thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't really that much to do.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And
yeah,
I've always wanted to work on that show because since I was a kid I've always watched it because obviously I love football, and you do have the what I think is great about Soccer Aid, you get like the celebs, and then you get like these retired players, and it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? All of these people that you get to see you saw growing up kind of thing, and it's always just fun to watch sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one.
What about you though? Career highlight? Like,
well, I've only been how long have you been working TV? Like 2 years more than me, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I've only been working in telly for 2 years. I'd say highlight. I don't know. Like I've just enjoyed all of it. Like I would say, yeah, Soccer Aid was fun. Big Brother's been amazing. But yeah,
what's the workload on that like? Is it intense?
Yeah, but again, it's kind of this because you're a runner. It's kind of like you're working hard, but it's not for me. It's long hours, but it's not. I never felt any pressure on it.
Yeah.
And obviously, working on task, you are contributing as well to editorial, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's such a fun team and whatever. But the people above you, they say, yeah, it's hard. It can be hard work. But for me, because when you're a runner, it's just kind of like nothing really falls on your shoulders, which is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is good. But a lot of it is. You know, like if your team, the way it's done is with Big Brother, there are, say, 4, it's one big task team, but they're split into 4.
Yeah.
With a producer, assistant producer, researcher, then runner. And you're all sort of just figuring it out. And then when it's your day for the task, it's just like, it's intense, especially if you have a shopping task, because they can last like 2 days.
Yeah.
And they last all day. So usually you'll be either late that night and then you're in early on like the hotel. And I remember the first time I done Big Brother, the producer on my team was also the producer for the whole of task. So we had a lot of shopping tasks, and we were in like Saturday, Sunday every week pretty much. And
intense.
And I remember for Halloween we had a shopping task then, and we were like in till like 10 or 11, and we were in the next day at like 6, and we was in hotels like a lot sort of thing.
It is a lot. I feel like even when you go back to your hotels, it doesn't stop because there's always someone who needs something.
Yeah, and a lot of times where it's just like they go on all day, and obviously everyone does help, and it's always great fun, and it always works out. But yeah, and to be honest, I'm excited to watch it this year because obviously I'm not working on it this year. It starts on Monday actually.
Did you watch it after when you'd finished working on it? Did you go back and watch?
Well, I've done the last 3 series, so I've. Oh, do you mean like? Yeah. So I would always watch. I'd watched every episode when I was working on it.
Oh, fine.
But yeah, this year I'm gonna be able to actually watch it, which will be nice, kind of thing. So see how, and I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea who's gonna be on it. Yeah. And even last year, we didn't know who was gonna be on it until the day of, or maybe the day before.
Mental.
Yeah, they keep it really secret, kind of thing. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see who's going to be on there. Oh. You should get. I feel like you'd be good on that task or something. I feel like you'd be good.
Tasks is always really fun. Actually, it's something I want to do. Yeah. But it is hard to get in because I think I'd have to start from a runner role again.
I don't know. No, you definitely wouldn't, because one of the girls. Actually, I think 2 of the researchers that we had last year for Select.
Yeah.
They had never worked on it before.
Really?
And they just come onto it.
But had they had task experience?
They might have done tasking games on other shows, but.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know if it's essential. Like, I think that, there have been people that have not worked on it before. And I think one of the researchers, one of the researchers that we had last year on my team, she had never done Big Brother before. I think she might have done games or tasks, whatever.
Yeah.
She had a lot of researcher experience, but she had never done anything like that before.
Fine.
So I feel like you should look into that. And also, to be honest, because you've been working on such a big production like Britain's Got Talent, you never know. You might be eligible to do an AP role. Who knows? Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah, that'd be a dream. Yeah, to be fair, they're all like intertwined. Even development, like you have to develop. If we're developing game shows, it's pretty much the same as like creating.
It's the same, and it's more fun. Like I remember because how I first got onto the to Big Brother was I had I had done an internship at Banijay, and then I got extended onto a placement for 2 months. And when that was about to finish, the lady that run the who run the scheme, she said, "Oh, you should speak to Jack, who was the producer, and say, oh, you want to get onto task." I was like, "Okay, cool." We had like a chat, And long story short, they needed someone that could drive. So basically, I got the job.
Yeah.
But I started there. My internship was still going on. So I started there in like the summer, and I sort of done the development for all the games up until when we started in September.
Yeah.
And it would be like once or twice a week, we would meet the execs, pitch some ideas to them. They tell us what they like and what they didn't like, and then we'd go back and change them. And it was fun. You're just like trying out little things and just seeing what works, watching like researching videos and stuff. So I think you'd be really good at it because obviously it's like you get a different set of eyes on there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought you did it on Love Island though as well. Oh, you're welcome.
No, I did chaperoning on Love Island, so that was like, it was literally just looking after the contestants.
Oh, so you done it last year?
No, when did it?
Like
2022.
Oh, I thought you done it the year where it was like Mimi and Josh and...
No, it was Gemma, Owen, Luca, Denise.
Oh, and like Davide and stuff.
Yeah, that series. The first ever time Ekin had come on. Because she was one of the bombshells around our villas.
Oh, right. Yes, of course, yeah. Because a lot of the people that had done Big Brother the last few series, they also done it in the summer, like last summer.
Yeah.
And they said it was really good. And like they done Task on there, and they said it was really
Do you watch it?
Oh, that's my favourite show.
Do you think you could be on the show?
Do you know, I always wanted to go on there, but I think one of the reasons I never did was because when I was when did I start watching it? So when I was like 19, 20, I think, I had like a girlfriend, so obviously I couldn't go on there. And then the reason why I never applied for it, I was always worried about going on there and then getting voted off first.
Yeah.
Like, because anyone can, because you know what I mean? Like, you just might have a bad few days, you might not meet the right people on there, and then I would hate to go off first.
Yeah.
And anyway, during this time period, actually, I always wanted to obviously work in telly. I couldn't get any luck with jobs. I couldn't get anything, internships or whatever. So a couple of years ago, I started doing my application for Love Island to be on there. And they ask you, the questionnaire is really interesting if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
They'll ask you like, how many like relationships you've been in, how long have you been single, how many people have you slept with. It'll be like, who are your celebrity crushes, why did you break up with the last person you were seeing, all of this stuff. So I'd done all of that, and then they asked for like a few pictures of yourself, and they wanted me, I'd done all of that, and then they wanted a video.
I was just going to say, what did you do for your video?
So basically, this is the first part of the application, by the way, and I was going to do the video, and I was going to get back to it, but I had to go somewhere. And anyway, a day or two later, Ban and Jay got back to me and said, we want to interview you for a thing, so I just never carried on the thing, and then I got the job, so I never carried it on.
I mean, maybe that's a universal sign.
Maybe. But I would have been gutted. It would have been fun to go on that series, because it would have been like 2 years ago. So who was on it like 2 years ago? 2023.
23. That was the year after.
So that was a year after David.
And it was the summer one, not the winter.
It was a summer one.
I'm trying to think who was.
So I'm trying to think. She would have been the presenter then, and I think it would have been. Oh, because I know who would have won this. It would have been 2023, so that would have been the summer of 23. Oh, that's gonna drive me mad.
I feel like that's too long ago to think about.
It's only 2 years. I can remember the Ekin and Davide one clearly.
Trying to think.
It wasn't. Oh my god.
It wasn't Joey Essex, was it? He didn't come 23.
No, that was last year, 24. Because that was when we were on Soccer Aid. 20. Oh god, that's gonna do my head in.
Shall I have a look?
Yeah, please. Have you got your phone on you?
Let's have a look.
I'm gonna check this is still recording, because sometimes it switches off. Yeah, it's still recording.
Love Island.
That is gonna drive me mad. Because usually I'm quite good with my Love Island. Like,
yeah, same. Trivia. I genuinely cannot think that much back. Oh, so it was like Jess, Whitney, Ty.
Oh, that was a very good year.
Catherine, you would have done so well on that series. Wow.
No, I don't know who I would have coupled up with.
Okay, Jess, Whitney, Catherine.
No, because
Ella.
Ella would have been with Ty. And then
I feel like you're confident. You would have been like, okay.
No, not like that. And then who else was on there?
Catherine,
she was good looking, but she was a lot of headache, I think. And I think she liked Scott, the white guy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, they were quite good together. And then, I don't know, I didn't really like any of the girls in that year, to be honest.
I think in terms of the boys, you would have got along with them.
I would have got along with them.
Mitch, it was his year.
Messy Mitch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would have been such a good series
that was
for
a great
you.
Series,
wow.
If you could go on any year for Love Island, like what year would you have liked to go on? I would have liked to have done like 2017, 2018. Those years were really good.
Who was that?
Because that was the first year I started watching. 2017 was like Kem and Chris. And
that was a great series.
That was the first one I ever watched.
Yeah.
I'd never watched it before. And then 2018 was like Wes and Megan and what's the Geordie guy? He's a really tall, good-looking, muscly one.
Not Jack Fowler.
Adam. Is his name Adam?
Oh yeah, Adam Pollard. He's with one of the
Laura Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a really big.
That's mad.
Yeah, she's like 10 years older than him as well. But she seems really nice.
Do you know what? I don't think I would survive Love Island, like any of the series.
Why?
I'm not built for arguing.
Really?
Like, I can't.
You don't have to argue though. I mean, you will argue because that's just naturally what happens. But you don't.
I'm just too soft. I'm too much. Like, I couldn't. It would honestly kill me.
What show do you reckon you'd be a good contestant on, or would you like to go on?
I'd love to do Big Brother, but I think I'm too soft for that as well.
No, I feel like that. I get what you're saying, but I feel like that's kind of like more for softer people to like.
Do you think?
Yeah, and also the target audience of the show is like the more that kind of people. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, I mean, I don't know when you were working at Banner if you ever got to sit in on the auditions at Big Brother, but they're so like mad, like they're fun to watch, but like I don't even know what they're looking for some half the time, because it's like they want a bit of everything kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than it used to be. Like,
I never watched it before I still worked on it.
Oh my god, old Big Brother, I would have never survived. It was insane.
Yeah, it was more like, I think TV back then, more you could get away with more. So yeah, I don't know, but I never watched. Obviously, I knew about Big Brother, but my sister, who's like 5 years older than me, she I remember when she was like a teenage girl, she would be obsessed with it, and I remember everyone watched it, like millions of people watched it, but like it was massive. And even now, like every time I've worked on it, there's people queuing up outside.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's
a huge fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe I didn't know if it would be like that when it's come back.
Yeah.
Because it obviously everything's had to change, like welfare and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed with how well it's done. Like I can't lie, the first series that came back, I didn't rate it that much. But the one you just worked on, the previous one with like, what's it called? Hannah and Khaled
and like baked potato and stuff like
that. Yeah, that was really good.
That was a good one. Yeah,
it was really good.
That one was a good one. And but there was a lot of the boys were like kind of samey.
Yeah,
and that's what we as our team would be watching it. Because there's 24 hours TVs in all the offices. We would be a bit like there's nothing. Sometimes it felt like they were all the same.
But then you had Nathan, who was complete opposite.
He was like the tall Tory.
Yeah.
I liked him because he was a bit different.
Did you?
Yeah, he grew on me. Like I feel like he was not like the other guys, and he was a bit more like he had his own opinions, and he was interesting, and he caused conflict, but in an organic way.
Yeah.
I hate when everyone is like on these reality shows safe and the same. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe I like the other boys just because I fancied them all. So I was
like Khaled and stuff.
Yeah,
all the girls, because obviously I remember like all the girls that we had in our office, we had like the unit team, the house team, and then a task, and all the girls were, oh my god, Khaled, and there was another one that they liked as well, but I can't remember who it was.
Second.
No, some of them thought he was right, but there was another one that they liked. I can't remember who it was. Oh, Marcello.
Yeah. He's beautiful.
Yeah, he made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I was gutted when he didn't win.
What was Lily like? Because she killed me.
She was a nightmare. She was so screaming all the time, and it wasn't an act either.
No.
That's just how she is.
You can't.
But it's so I thought a lot of times she was just being rude. Like it was just horrible. It was really horrible to like listen to and be around, in my opinion.
It is a lot, but I think with people like her, you can't fake that. Like for that long of a period of time, it's impossible. It would slip, and she never slipped. So it's obvious that was just her.
She was being herself, but she was nice at times. But a lot of it was just like, it was hard to watch. To be honest, sometimes it was just like. It was horrible, to be honest, sometimes.
If you were going to cast your dream celebrity Big Brother, like, I'm going to say like 6 or 7 people.
Okay.
Your ideal celebrities, who are they going to be?
Ooh, that's a great question.
You could do sports people as well.
Yeah, of course. They always get at least one American, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start with an American. I would want to get because you want to get someone that everyone kind of knows. So maybe if I was going to start with oh, God. You go first, because you'll be better at this, because you're more into celebrity culture. Like, okay, who would be yours? And I can sort of maybe come up with some ideas off of that.
I'll take one of the housewives from America. I won't say the one that's rumoured for this year, because I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, they're not going to...
Well, Lisa Rinna, because she would be incredible.
Okay.
She's just a really messy housewife, but she's really funny, slightly unhinged.
Okay.
Trying to think if I bring anyone back. Gemma Collins... Because her and you know what, I'd bring her and Tiffany back because they did like a really iconic, you know, David's Dead, the meme.
Yeah.
That was their series, and that was like one of the
that
last.
Was like 2016, I think.
Unreal. So I'd bring them two back together just because they make incredible TV.
Yep.
I don't know. Trying to think who else. I don't know. You're gonna have to go. I need to think about more people.
Okay, let me get like some people that everyone. Do you know what would be a good one? I think Ian Wright. I think would be a good one.
Ian Wright would be incredible.
He'd be a good one. And then I think maybe I'll go for a comedian because obviously you want to get realistic people. So I can't just say like, oh, Kim Kardashian or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe if I was to go maybe Ian Wright, as like he's older and he's a sports guy. Then I would go for maybe someone a bit more, maybe like an ex-politician or something. Oh, do you know who'd be good? Who was that Tory guy? And he was, do you remember like it was either during COVID or COVID was done, he was like caught having like an affair with...
Matt Hancock, and he was an I'm a Celeb.
Oh, he was an I'm a Celeb.
Yeah,
okay, so
but
it wouldn't
still,
really work.
he would be... No, I think he'd be good though.
But it's kind of it's been done. Maybe Rishi Sunak. I think that would be a good one.
That would be interesting. What's he called? Gorgeous guy with really funny laugh, and he does sports presenting. Beginning with M. What's his name?
M.
Micah Richards.
He
would be so good.
I think he'd be. Yeah, that's a really good shout. Yeah, Micah Richards would be a good one. I think maybe you want to get someone maybe who's a little bit controversial. Maybe like, God, who's even famous now? Who was one of the people? Oh, do you know who would be good? He wouldn't be controversial, but Eddie Hearn. Remember, he was on Soccer.
He'd be amazing.
I love that guy.
He would. You know what? He would rile everybody up.
I don't know. He seems like quite a friendly guy, but I could see him getting on some people's nerves, but he would be good.
Yeah,
Eddie
him
Hearn,
and Ian would be good together.
Oh, they would be great together.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn would be a good one, and then if I could get two more, maybe I would get. This is a bit sports heavy. I go for one more. Chris Eubank, Senior.
Yes.
Yeah, him. And then if I was gonna let's throw a woman in there. Maybe like. No, that wouldn't work. Maybe like. Lily Phillips. I don't know.
Okay, she would be good.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
Someone like that, because she's like younger. Everyone knows who she is.
Yes.
OnlyFans kind of thing. What did you think about that whole thing? That whole Lily Phillips sleeping with 100 guys kind of thing. Because everyone was talking about, even like my
was
dad.
Was it 100 or 1,000?
No, so I think she has done. I don't know, but she done 100 in one day, and like, everyone was like, people at work was talking about it. Like my mum was talking about my dad.
Is
and
it
it's
exaggerated?
Just like, what do you mean? I didn't watch.
Like,
I couldn't watch the doc. It's just too disgusting. But she done it. She did do it.
I don't know, because it's like women should be able to do whatever they want with their bodies, and
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But I don't want to. I don't know. It's just a bit mental. Like, that's not good for your body. It can't be. And also, was she the one who then went on to talk about how she sleeps with people who are like fresh out of uni or fresh?
No, that was the other one, Bonnie Blue. They're kind of like
okay,
competing.
fine. Well, both of them, I think, do whatever you want with your body, but keep it.
I had never heard of them.
Don't
before.
be weirdos about it.
But then, even my personal opinion is, I think it's disgusting. However, but you can be able to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think, for example, I don't want to go out and smoke crack.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that, you're an adult. I can't tell you what to do. So that's the same way I see it.
That's
but
it.
There are other things around it. But just because my opinion might be for one thing, it doesn't mean necessarily I have got the moral superiority. So I think it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think porn's disgusting. But if people want to waste their money watching that, and some people want to fly, so I think in that I saw a clip where a guy flew all the way from like Switzerland or Sweden just to go see her for like 3 minutes.
If
you want to do that, that's your business. But it's disgusting in my opinion.
Yeah, and also I think people have too much money, because why are you spending? So I follow this really, really gorgeous. She's like a OnlyFans creator, but she doesn't show anything on her TikTok. It's just her.
Yeah.
And
what's her name?
She's called Blue-Eyed Kayla Jade, and she's on TikTok, and she's Australian, and she talks about both sides. Like, she'll come from a job and she'll talk about like the mentally draining side of like sex working, etc. And she's very, very real and open about it, and she makes an insane amount of money. So like, if she goes to an overnight job,
come on a bit closer, because
sorry.
It's not in the shop.
If she goes to an overnight job with a client that she's met like a few times, she'll talk about like how she puts like stuff in place. Like, she'll only go to like really nice hotels with security and make sure that like there's boundaries and stuff. But in a night, like, she'll charge for like her sleeping time as well. She can make like 20k, which is insane.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it is with like sex work. Me personally, I think it's disgusting, and I think it's not morally wrong, but I think it's degeneracy.
Yeah.
But if people want to do that, crack on. It's none of my business.
Yeah.
But when people go on about this, it's a bad influence on young people, and young girls especially. I think that's true, but at the end of the day, that kind of doesn't matter because if people want to do that, they're going to do it anyway.
Exactly.
So I don't know, but then I'm torn on it because if that was my family, if that was, for example, if Lily Phillips was my sister or my, actually that's the thing. Maybe I'm a hypocrite because if that was my sister or like if it was someone I'm dating or my mum, whatever, I would never speak to them again.
Yeah.
But if it was like, because I've got female friends, if that's what was one of my best friends,
Yeah.
I wouldn't care.
But friends and family are different, innit?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I understand it. I feel the same that I wouldn't want my daughter doing it because I think it's an unrealistic portrayal of like earning loads of money and living this crazy life. Like it's mentally draining, it's dangerous, it's harmful to your body.
Yeah.
But do you? I would never go up to anyone and be like, I think you're disgusting.
Yeah, neither would I.
But you're obviously allowed your opinion because they put this content out there knowing people are going to have their opinions.
Yeah, because, and I like, that's why I'm torn because it's like, I wouldn't say, is it hypocritical that I would, if one of my friends wanted to do that, I'd be like, yeah, I think it's a bad idea, but you go ahead. But if it was one of my friends, like one of my family, I probably would disown them.
No, I don't think it's hypocritical because friends and family are different.
I get that, yeah. Because if it was one of my friends, even though I would advise them strongly not to.
Yeah.
But that's your business,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You're not related to them. You don't have to go home to them
Do
at the
you,
end
do
of
you
the
have
day.
any friends or anyone that does like, that you know kind of personally that does like
people at home who I used to go to school with, they have.
Yeah.
But no one personally. Actually, yeah, no one really.
Yeah.
I think if anyone in my life was to do it, it would most likely be for the money.
Yeah.
Like for the amount of
I think
money.
they all do it for the money though, right?
Well, I don't know. Some people do it because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, no, I think as well, both of us growing up in different cultures, it's even, it's an even harder topic to touch. So like,
I can imagine. Yeah, so because obviously you're more traditional. What is your like religion?
Mum's we're Hindu Punjabi.
Yeah.
But none of us are really religious. So like,
it's more of a cultural thing.
It's more of a cultural thing. Like we didn't grow up talking about sex. Like you'll see, like I grew up in a really, really white town. Like
in Leeds.
Yeah. It's a place called Ossett, so it's like further into.
But there's
Leeds.
like loads of like South Asian.
No, so when me and my sister grew up, we were the only kids of colour.
Really?
Like our family was the only family of colour.
I just assumed in Yorkshire, not like, I know there's certain places more than others. I just assumed there's loads of like Indians, Pakistanis, Bengalis.
I never had any Asian friends until I went to uni.
Really?
I never had any friends of colour until I went to uni.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's mad because where I grew up, like round here in like South Nord.
Yeah.
Literally everyone's black. Like everyone I went to school with, like everyone in my school was black. Even primary school was like that.
Yeah.
And literally, I think in our school year there was 220 people. I think if I had to count everyone, I would say about 18 or 20 were white.
That's mental.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So I didn't really think anything of it. But then when I play football on a weekend, so obviously where I'm from is like North Croydon, like South Nord.
Yeah.
But when I play football on a weekend on Saturdays, I'd go to South Croydon.
Fine.
Everyone was white. I'd be the only person who wasn't white. So and obviously my mum's white, my dad's white. So I'd never really just thought anything about it. And obviously when you live in London, you go to certain places, like one of my mates is from Ilford. His family are like Greek and Moroccan, but I don't know if you've ever been to Ilford. Yeah. You've been there before?
Yeah.
Like, it is literally like walking around like South Asia or Wembley. It's like
mad.
Everyone's Asian, or Southall, everyone's Asian.
That's it.
Yeah, so and then you go to other places in London where everyone's white. So it's just like, growing up, I never thought anything of it because you just see everyone everywhere.
That's it. Yeah, but then us growing up, like we were desperate for that. Like mum, like we didn't know anything about our culture. Like dad told us not, like we didn't, and my parents didn't really want us to learn Punjabi growing up because they didn't want us to stick out more than we already were. Because me and my sister were really badly bullied at school.
I can imagine.
Because it was a fairly racist town. Don't know if it still is, but it was.
Yeah.
So they didn't want us to do anything to stand out, like get an accent or whatever.
Yeah. Or you've got a really strong like Yorkshire accent.
Exactly. Or learn Punjabi more than English. So they didn't want that to happen and stick out even more at school.
Yeah.
It didn't really fucking matter anyway. So I wish we had learned it.
Yeah, exactly. And like one of my friends, he's from Burton, which is like in between Midlands and up the north. But he's like, I think he comes from like a white-ish town, but there's quite a few like Asians. There's not really any black people there, but he's Indian, but he's Sikh. There's a few more, but like mostly where he's from is pretty much everyone's white kind of thing.
It is mental growing up, and then coming to London. This is why I'd never want to leave.
It must be like a culture shock kind of thing.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Yeah, because when I go to places like out in the UK where it's like everyone's white, I don't think anything of it. I'm just like, yeah, it's a white country. But because obviously you get in London, you have everything everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't ever feel like any certain kind of way when I'm the minority, because I don't feel any kind of way when I'm the majority.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it is in London. And obviously some towns more than others, but it's just like, and even where I'm from, everyone is very mixed where I'm from. Like there's loads of white people, there's loads of white people, there's loads of Asians. It's just like, I guess you do kind of take it for granted.
And it's become the norm. See,
yeah.
So did you ever experience any racism growing up or anything?
No, I'm very, very lucky. Like living in London, that's just how it is. Like obviously people are racist, not to me directly, but there's racist people everywhere, all over the world. But no, to be honest, no. Like never. Like I went to a school where everyone looks just like me.
Yeah.
And an area where everyone looks like me, and then sometimes you go to places where people don't look like you, or they're different cultures, but then everyone's nice for the most part. Do you know what I mean? So no, in London, no, definitely.
Not. Well, that's good then. That's good. See, we were the opposite, and we grew up like racism our whole life, and then since we've moved to London, we've not had it.
Yeah, and also like, and I it is funny how that kind of works, and then I guess as well, like it's different. Yeah, it's just different in different places. I think even in like I've never been to America, but for the most part, I feel like from what I've heard and seen, I think they say racism in America is different to racism here in like Britain.
Yeah.
But I think they say it's more, how can I put it, more like say obvious or whatever. And I think here it's more
so many microaggressions.
Yeah.
And it'll make you look crazy, and that's how I felt growing up. That I knew people were being racist. And
you can't really prove it.
Yeah, you can't really show it, and because no one else is of your colour, of your background, of your culture, they don't understand it.
Yeah, and I think as well, like what's say in like in America, what I find interesting, and there's not really a wrong or right answer, but in America, you could be from any country in the world, any like race or ethnicity, but you are an American.
Yeah.
I feel like in England, I'm not saying that for some. Okay, so a lot of my friends who are say, so like. I've got friends who are from, say, they might be Nigerian backgrounds, or one of my mates he's Ivorian or whatever.
Yeah.
They would say they are British, but they wouldn't say they're English.
Fine.
Whereas some people, like for example, I would say I am because my mum's English and I've grown up in England. But a lot of people wouldn't, because they would be like, well, no, English is like an ethnicity and British is like a nationality.
Okay.
So what do you think? So like, would you say if you met somebody, would you be like, oh well, I'm British, I'm English? Like, how would you describe it in your own words?
I used to say all the time that I'm British, but then this is where it would annoy me, but then I'm like, now I understand it, because people would be like, no, but where are you actually from?
Yeah.
Because they could see that I didn't look British or English.
Yeah.
And I'd say, oh, mum's originally from India, but I would always call myself British because I was born here like you were.
Yeah.
So like, mum was born in India, moved here when she was 25, married my dad. My dad was born in Crawley. Sister was born in Lewisham, and then they moved to Leeds when I was born.
But your dad's Indian as well?
Yeah, dad's Indian, but his parents were both born in India and he was born here.
Right, yeah.
So like, I would say I was British, but then people would always push and be like, but what are you actually?
What's your ethnicity? Yeah. Which is interesting, because in America, for example, you would never look at, say, I don't know, let's just say LeBron James or whatever, or Michael. You wouldn't say, oh yeah, but where are you really from? They're American.
Yeah.
Whereas in here, it's like, not really. It's different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't, because I never really agreed with, say, especially like black people who are from the diaspora, who are, say, Africans, because they haven't lived in this country very long. So most of my friends who are African, they've only lived in this country, like their parents probably only moved here like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas like Caribbean people have probably lived here for like the last 70 years.
Yeah.
So they're like now like third or fourth generation, whereas they're more like second generation. So they would always be like, no, I'm not English at all. I'm British, and I'm like, I don't know, Ghanaian heritage or whatever. Whereas, yeah, it's different. There's not really one right answer sort of thing, but it's just interesting, say, in America or Brazil, if you're born there, that's just your nationality.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the state of America now, like, honestly, anyone who's not white is not having a good time.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think it's probably more of a, like, if you're poor, like, you're struggling so bad, like, because I do agree with you, but, like, if you're a poor white person from, like, Arkansas or something, you've got, like, nothing. And if you're, like, a poor Mexican person from, like, I don't know, Texas, you got nothing as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's it. It's horrible.
Yeah, but I would love to go there.
Would you?
Oh, I'd actually live there and work there.
I would be scared for you to go. I've been told by travel agents not to go. Like, even my dad, who travels for work, they've told him not to go, because they're ICE. Anyone who's a person of colour, it doesn't matter if you're legal, if you're not, whatever, they are taking people and, like, almost kidnapping them and then keeping them in, like, detention centres for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it's mental.
Yeah, so basically, I've looked into that. So have you heard of a guy called Andrew Callahan?
No.
Really good documentaries, by the way. He's this American guy, and he does like these underbelly videos of America, and it's kind of similar to like Louis Theroux, but he's an American guy.
Fine.
But he does like kind of Louis Theroux style docs, but in today's time, and he does these really good videos where he goes down to the border, and he'll go all over America, meeting like all kinds. He'll speak to like really far right conservatives, and then like these really lefty liberals, and then the people in the middle who are sort of facing these deportation problems. And it's funny. It's very conflicted, and there's not really one right answer, because there are people who have, say, which I don't agree with, there are people that have, say, been born in, say, America, but their parents maybe came here illegally, but they've lived here for 50, 60 years. Their parents are getting deported, and then the kids are like, who are like grown up now, are stuck there, and it's like, technically that's right, because obviously you're technically deporting an illegal immigrant, but they've lived here for, say, 60 years.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
But then you got other people who will go, well, who are like, say, who have done it the right way, and it's years to get in. So it's like, what is the right way around it? And America is such a massive country.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't have the answer, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you should watch his document. They're amazing.
Andrew Callahan.
Yeah, Channel 5, Andrew Callahan. But he doesn't just do like immigration videos. He'll do like videos about drugs and like similar to like Louis Theroux back in the day, but more modern day stuff. It's really, really good. Like really, really
Fine.
good.
I think it's interesting to hear other people's perspective.
Yeah.
I think I get so passionate and wound up about it because I experienced so much racism growing up that I can't stand the thought of anyone like I have really bad empathy for people who've been deported or people's parents, because like the conditions that they're keeping them in, it's horrible. But I think other people who've never experienced racism or any sort of like segregation feeling maybe don't feel it as much. So, and I'm not saying that anyone, like, people can't have empathy. But I think if you've gone through it yourself, you feel it more seeing it.
100%. And I feel like when you do, I feel like what the problem is when it gets to these kind of topics, people get so, like you said, passionate, which is a good thing, but whether it's the left or the right, people get so, well, this is my team and I think this and I'm not willing to listen, because you never know, people on the other side might have a good point, but then you might also have a good point. People don't really want to listen to what other people have to say. Which is kind of, I find it interesting. Sometimes I like to just hear people just talk, because I don't really find politics interesting, but I think with say politics, it's obviously linked to like current culture and stuff and popular culture. So it's interesting, but I don't really have the answers, kind of thing. But it's interesting.
Okay, so if you were on a first date and they were telling you some of their political views, if you didn't agree with them, would that put you off them? Would you be like, I'm done?
It would only put me off if they was extreme either way. So if they were like a far left or a far right, I'd be like, no, obviously not. But if they were okay, say if I went on because obviously more younger people, especially in like big cities, are more liberal, more left leaning, right? And if I was, my political views, I'm not very political, but if I was going to say I'm probably centre in the middle, leaning a bit more to the left. But I don't really care if someone is conservative. I don't care if someone's a right winger. I don't care if people have strong views on, say, immigration or whatever. If that's just your take, if that's your take, that's your take. And as long, to me, if you're not extreme either way and you're a nice person, we'll get on just fine. But it wouldn't really bother me if say I met a girl and she's like, oh, I'm a conservative, or I like Donald Trump, or I like who's the MP? I don't know, Rishi Sunak or David Cameron. I'd be like, cool, that's your opinion. You're more traditional. That's you want to do. But and it would be the same way if they were like, oh, I like socialism. I like Jeremy Corbyn. I think we need to have, I don't know, a national living wage for everyone, and everyone should be entitled to free healthcare. I'm like, fine. That's it might not be realistic, but that is your opinion. Would it be a deal breaker for you?
Yes, but again, it's only coming because of, I think it's interesting to see that, and I would like to be like that, where it wouldn't bother me. But if someone came up to me and they were like,
I like Donald Trump.
I would literally be repulsed straight away. Really, I would be like,
a lot of people are like that though.
And it's fine, like everyone can have their opinions, and I used to try and hide it, again, because to survive in a white town when you're the only person of colour, you have to. But now I've learned, someone comes up to me and says they like Donald Trump, I don't have to like them, I don't have to be their friend, I don't want to be around them, and that's my choice.
And that's fair to do, I think.
Because then they can have their opinion, but I don't want it near me.
Whereas me, I'm kind of just like, you like what you like, even if we don't agree. I don't feel that strongly about politics. And if you like who you like, I never vote. I think it's a waste of time, left or right. I don't vote anymore. I used to be really into it, but I don't care anymore. But I'm just like, you like what you like. I just think whoever wins, whoever wins the election, or whether it's Brexit this, Brexit that. I just want it to be a fair election, and whoever gets the most votes deserves to win. and that's it. But I can understand why people don't want to be. But for me personally, I got friends who are lefties. I got friends who are conservatives. I got people in the middle who don't really care like myself. And you know what I mean? And I think also when it comes to politics and say, I always say politics is say, sort of mixed with say culture, like pop culture and whatever.
Yeah.
So say you might be a left-wing person on one issue, but you might be more conservative on another issue, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It
It's
just
a spectrum.
depends.
Yeah. Because you might think, for example, I think there should be, one of my political views is that we should have, say, free healthcare in this country, which we do.
Yeah.
And I think other things should be free as well. Like, I think everyone deserves to have a home.
Yes.
But I don't agree with, for example, I think university fees, say how they're $9,000 a year, they might be a bit steep, but I think they should be that much because I think they're a waste of time. But people who are more left-leaning will be like, they should be free.
Yeah. No, I think it's good to have difference of opinion. I think if I'd have grown up here and I hadn't been surrounded by complete right-wing psychopaths, I might have felt more in the middle because it's not healthy to let it consume your whole life
100%.
and feel so like aggressive and passionate and get so worked up, because especially when it doesn't work out in your favor, it is definitely. Like it's horrible. So it's good to have that attitude and like allow everyone to be themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work on that, but sometimes
people
really need testing.
I was the same. I always think, obviously no one ever thinks that they're wrong, but sometimes I think it's good to just have like, oh, maybe I am wrong, so let me hear what you have to say, kind of thing. Yeah.
I think it's good to learn, and you can admit when you're wrong, but
100%.
But
100%. What would you say is your most say like conservative sort of right wing view?
Oh, I don't know if I have them. Conservative.
Everyone has one to an extent. Whether it's like, I don't think, for example, I don't think it should be. I think. Anyway, for example, I don't think it's right that the British public, have to pay taxes on people that want to do an arts degree. I think that's a complete waste of time. It doesn't make any sense.
We're in arts.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like that's not fair. Like I don't think that's right. Like
wait, as in like, wouldn't they pay for their own degree?
No, but what I'm saying is most people can't. Most of those fees, thingy fees, are never going to get paid back. And obviously, a left-wing kind of policy is that university and education should be free. But I don't think it's right that let's just say it was free.
Yeah.
And everyone's got to pay for your liberal arts degree about how to paint a brush. I think that's a complete waste of time.
I can agree with that to a certain extent. I think there's better things we could be spending money on, like back into the NHS, back into education, because that's falling to shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you give me a topic and I'll be able to tell you?
Okay, for example, what do you think? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, go on.
Okay, for example, what do you think of like? Okay, I think everyone should be accepted for say their. No, I'm not gonna. I'll walk and talk offline. I'm not talking about that. But for example, I think for example, people's gender and sexuality and stuff, I think everyone is the same and everyone is equal. But maybe some people don't agree that you should have it in. So like when we were doing the Big Brother sort of auditions, they would do these things where they would put out like a statement, like yes or no, and they would say a statement, and you got to go to the left or the right.
Okay.
And say if you were the only person that said no or yes, they might ask you to explain why.
Fine.
So for example, they would be like, I think one of the questions was like, I don't think they should teach something like LGBT in like sex education for a certain age.
Okay.
And I'm like, I was kind of torn on that because I think you should learn about everything.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I don't think there should be lines. But then who am I to say that line is? Should you be talking about people's like fetishes and kinks, or should you not? I don't really know what the answer is. It's like, so where is the line where it goes too far? I don't really know.
Fine.
Yeah.
Well, I think in school you don't learn about sex education until you're nearly of age for things to start happening.
But did we not? What,
so like when you're younger, like in year 6, girls.
I'm quite young now that I think about it. Though.
Girls learn about periods, and boys might learn about puberty, but that's not sex education. I think people are getting it misconstrued. That's like growing up hormones. Yeah. Sex education for me, as far as I can remember, we learned about it in year 9 and year 10. So I was 14, and that's realistic.
Is that more like the? That's not really, as far as I can remember, it might be different for your, because school's changing, like I shoot through my ear. Yeah. But if I remember correctly, I think it was more like, obviously you learn about puberty and stuff, but then sex education I think was like more reproduction, and it wasn't everything else. Like, it wasn't like, say, your sexuality and stuff. I think that was more like PSHE or I don't know. I can't really
That's what
remember.
it was, though. I
Was
think,
it? Yeah,
I think the
yeah.
reproductive side was science, but the life side was learning how to have safe sex, learning what STDs are,
Yeah.
learning. But then I think if
I think
that's
now
the
it might be
case,
different. It might be more. They're more talking about other things. You know, like obviously, I guess when I was in school,
Yeah.
people didn't talk about things, say like mental health or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess that is kind of tied into sex education.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the answer is. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. Like, and there are topics that are so, I think, complicated and nuanced. It's like hard to even give a straightforward answer sometimes. I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, but because I think when I was in school, I don't really think they talked about, say, other sexualities.
yeah,
Whereas I feel like now they kind of have to, because, you know, like back when I was in school, I think a kid came out as gay when I was in like year 10. So this is like 2012. And everyone was like, what? And whereas now I think kids coming out as gay in school is like, yeah, so what?
normalised.
Now the sort of cool or edgy thing is like non-binary or trans,
Yeah.
I think. Whereas they teach that in schools now. Whereas when I don't know when you were, I never knew anything about that.
I don't think. I mean, because I was teaching as well before I did.
Oh, did you?
TV, but I don't think they teach that, because it's not something you can teach. I think they make people aware
Right,
of like
yeah.
what can happen, but it's more the scientific side. So like if you're a boy and you really felt like you wanted
girl, yeah.
like if you wanted to have a full gender
Transition,
change
yeah.
and a transition, then they teach you these might be the side effects. This is the process of it, because you have to have your hormones change,
Yeah.
your voice changes, and you have surgery. So they
Wow.
teach you that side.
Did you have to do that in school, like teach that? To
I
talk about that to
didn't,
students?
but I know that we've had to have conversations with
You had
kids
to talk to
about
kids
it.
about it?
Yeah, but this was primary school I was teaching, so even as young as that.
Really? You have to teach them then?
Yeah, and it's more
Wow.
like education of like, if that doesn't apply to you, I don't know why people care. Like,
Oh, yeah.
me personally, I don't think I'd have any right-winged opinion on it, because I'm like, if someone wanted to change their gender, I couldn't give a shit. If someone wanted to use the pronouns they, them, couldn't give a shit.
care, yeah.
It really does not affect 1 inch of my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people are so passionate about it. Like,
Right.
big issues like sexism, homophobia, racism, etc., they affect people's lives. But if someone came to me and said, can you call me they, them, I'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah. It
Yeah.
really, like, it doesn't
Doesn't
affect
matter. Doesn't
any
affect me,
any
yeah.
part of my life
Doesn't affect me at
whatsoever. So I don't have an opinion on it.
Yeah, because I think. Oh, let me just pause that. Sorry, it started playing.
Huh.
The radio started playing. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Do you not get scared if you're here by yourself and stuff like that happens?
I'm never here by myself.
Oh, you're not?
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
No, you're right, because I feel like people get so drawn into like these culture wars, and they're talking about, oh, well, I don't want this, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is this kind of fear of not knowing what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to like, disagree, or you think something's weird, or you disagree with it, but if it doesn't really affect you in your everyday life,
Yeah.
then that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't agree with pushing an agenda. So if a teacher was
Yeah.
saying this is like they were, which I don't see ever happening, like a lot of people who I've met who are homophobic or transphobic,
Yeah.
they're under the impression that people who are gay or people who want a sex change are walking around saying, I'm like this, you have to be. They're
Yeah.
actually not.
No.
They're just speaking out about their experience, but that's different to pushing it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not telling anyone this is how you should be. They're not pushing an agenda. They're not saying this is right. They're
Right.
saying this is my experience. And then, like, as they should be allowed to do whatever they want, speak about whatever they want, if that makes them happy. But they shouldn't. I would never see them push it on people. But that's something I'd never agree with.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
religion, like sex, gender, etc., none of it should be pushed. Do
Yeah.
what you want that makes you happy.
That's why, for the most part, I try and avoid talking about like politics, religion, and like politics and religion. It's just like, because you're never, the way I see with politics and religion, you're never going to change someone's mind.
Yeah.
You're just not, because people have their beliefs and that's what they believe. You're not gonna, like, if somebody thinks that, I don't know, they're a conservative or they're really religious and they believe something's a sin, you're not gonna change their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it works the other way. If someone's a complete lefty and they think, oh, we should have open borders and no one's you're not gonna change their mind
Yeah,
either.
that's it.
So I politics and religion, I really just try to avoid, because it's just like, you're just going to get in an argument and you're just going to not like someone because they might disagree with you on like a silly topic.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, because I think it's like, I think you see, and also times change from like what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. Like, I think when you, I don't know, like things change so much. Like what would you say is different, say, in the last, say, 5-10 years that maybe you could say or you couldn't say, or views have completely 180'd on something? Like, what do you think?
I think language, like stuff used on social media as well, like it's so different. Like a lot of things we used to say, like when we were younger, like the term gay was used for like anything silly.
Yeah.
And now you'd never be able to say that. Rightly so. It's like it's obviously a slur.
Yeah.
We were using it way too freely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff like that where it's like we didn't think about the stuff we were saying before and now we do, and we're more aware of people's emotions and we're more aware of people's feelings.
Yeah.
And like you said, some people have grown up where they're never going to change their opinion.
Yeah.
They'll continue to use slurs, they'll continue to use offensive behaviour and language, and I think that's changed, and the way people speak, the way people interact has had to change a lot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is true. Things have definitely changed where you can be but then sometimes I think you're 100% right, but then sometimes I feel like there's an overcorrection sometimes where it's like, because sometimes, not that I'm scared or anything, but I don't want to sometimes say the wrong thing. I mean, I would never want to offend somebody just for the sake of offending them.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I feel like I should be allowed to say that, but I don't want to risk it, especially if you're at work or whatever. You don't want to, and you might not know someone that well. And I think context is very important. I feel like you might have a relationship with one of your friends who's different to you, and they might be okay with you saying that to me, or like, say if you got a gay friend or whatever, they might be cool with you go, oh, that's gay, like, that's your relationship. But that doesn't mean that it's okay for you to speak to some random gay guy you've never met and like, oh, you're do you know what I mean? Because so context matters. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I think I would say that, and I do think it's affected TV as well, and rightly so.
Like, then, sometimes I'm torn on that because I feel like some of the things that you could say and could get was really good TV.
Yeah.
And like some shows wouldn't get made now, or do you know what I mean? Like for example, I think some even shows that aren't overly offensive, but you could argue, oh, it's misogynistic. Like say like In-Betweeners, for example.
Yes.
I think that's hilarious, but it's not really offensive. But you can understand why people will be like, oh well, you could make an argument with like, oh, this is a bad influence on teenage boys or misogyny or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And that's it, because we grew up knowing that was humour and we didn't look into it as anything but humour.
Yeah.
Whereas now other people would look into it and be like, oh, I want to act like that. Whereas when we were watching it, it was literally just comedy. Like we weren't, no one was mimicking it, no one was going out.
Keep going.
And like using it as like a role model. We were watching it because it was funny. And I think that has changed TV a lot. And I think even now, like, if you think about welfare teams in TV, that never really existed back then. And especially in reality TV, like, look at the old days of Love Island, look at the old days of Big Brother, like when Jade Goody was on it and Shilpa Shetty and all of that. Like,
that
Love
was
Island,
massive,
people were having sex open on TV in front of everyone.
Do they not do that anymore? I feel like they show it. They sort of not show the whole thing, but like.
But do you not remember the series where I think it was one of the girls who's sadly passed away, but she literally was sheet off.
Oh, I don't think I watched that one.
On top of someone, and the whole thing was shown. And it's so different now.
It is crazy that quite a lot of people on Love Island sort of, because there was like that guy that was Mike.
Yes.
And then there was
So there was a girl called Sophie, and I
didn't watch that one, but yeah, she was the year before.
She was like, really back, and then obviously Caroline.
Oh my God, Caroline! And do you know what? I'm not saying. I actually loved. I thought she was an amazing host.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice, and I'm sure she must have seen it as well, she did get loads of nasty comments about her, like, oh, what is she wearing, this and that. And I never really understood the Caroline hate. I never really got it. But it is, and also everyone's different. Like me personally, I mean, it's easy for me to say that because no one knows who I am. But if people want to make nasty comments about me, I actually just couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they read that and it's like, oh, that breaks them, sort of thing. And it's like, you might get like 100 great comments, but then one bad one. And that, for some people, that's like, oh, do you know what I mean? I'm done now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's different though. And I think for me, like, I know I just wouldn't care. Like, but everyone's not like me. Everyone's not as, say, people are more sensitive kind of thing. And people do care. Like, everyone like wants to be liked kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, dating now then, like you said you had a partner before, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you find it hard? Like, I feel like our generation is almost cursed because I feel like it's
are you talking about dating in TV, or do you mean like people like
just
in our age?
In general, like our generation, maybe dating in the TV industry or just dating in general now, I feel like it's so much harder than our parents having to find partners and stuff.
I think there's a few theories on this. I think, for say like, how old are your parents?
Dad's going to be 60 in August, and Mum's 58.
Yeah, so my parents are like 55, so they're roughly the same age.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess yes and no, because I feel like there are pros and I feel like there are cons. So back then, you would have had less options because you can go on Hinge or Tinder and you can just swipe until you get a match, and you can talk to the other person on Instagram, DM them and be like, oh, let's meet up or whatever. So you have more options. But then I guess back then, because you didn't have less options, maybe you were more interested in one person.
Yeah.
But then also it can work the other way. If you weren't interested in them, you gotta like, if you didn't like them, you gotta wait till the next time you see them to break it off, or oh, I don't want to see you again. And so I don't really know. Like, I don't know. I feel like with some people, like if you meet the right person, you're just gonna like them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So I don't know. But then I guess people are busier now, and one thing I do think is affected, say, dating. I think from say like our parents' age is that people have, like, I don't understand the economics, but back then in your like early to mid 20s, you could afford to move out and start a family or whatever. Like now, like I'm 28, I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford to move out.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's harder to date because it's like you don't really want to start a family living in your parents' like basement or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's different. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. But then I guess some people will say they've met, like I know people that, one of my friends, he met his girlfriend on Tinder and they've been together for like 3 years sort of thing. So
yeah,
it can happen, but I don't know. Yeah,
dependent.
Yeah, I guess you kind of sort of have to make a sacrifice. Do I want to focus on my career or do I want to focus on my work?
Yeah.
And I guess if you're a woman, you can kind of get sort of done both ways, because you might meet somebody, you want to have a successful career, but then you might want to have children, and then your career gets like put on pause.
Yeah, and it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. What about you? Has it been like hard for you? Like, do you just sort of?
I think doing TV has always been my dream, and I've made it my pure focus to make sure I'm successful enough to have good like finance, and I would never settle down and have a family or kids until I know I'm in a place where I can give them everything.
Secure,
and
yeah.
if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think working in TV, I didn't realise how much it does kind of consume your life, especially these bigger shows.
Yeah.
You're on them for like a long period of time. You're doing a lot of hours.
10-hour days.
It's made it harder to date people. My social battery runs out, because when I'm done being social at work, I need a break, and then I'm like, I should be going on dates, I should be talking to people, but I don't have the energy.
And also your social life with your friends, because when you're even if you obviously dating is more serious, but even from like just seeing your friends, like when you're working on a show for like 2 months, you hardly get to see them because you're just
and then you
working.
want to prioritise your friends.
You're working on the weekend, so you can't see them as much. So it definitely affects your like social life, like with your friends as well, and your family.
100%.
You don't see your family as much, kind of thing. And for people like you who have moved to London, you're basically here to just work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's harder to get all of these things done, like stay on top of like going to the gym and like
oh my God,
social
it's
life
exhausting.
and dating life, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think as well, like I've seen so many where we've gone away on location or we've been away for long periods of time. People move a bit crazy in TV.
I mean, I've heard stories, but I've never like. What have you seen? I mean, obviously you can't name names, but like, have you seen stuff like that?
A lot of people who will go on international shoots and take their wedding rings off.
Really?
And we're all aware that they have wives or partners at home.
Yeah.
And they think, and there'll be one person who doesn't care.
Yeah.
And they'll do they'll just move mad on shoots and then come back to their families. And I just think like it terrifies me to then want to date someone in TV, because I'm like, what if they're going to do that?
But to be honest, I think my thing is if someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat no matter what their job is. Whether they're a chef, whether they're a personal trainer, or whatever. But even though it doesn't matter what job you have, but there are a few jobs of girls that I would never date.
Okay, what are they?
One, any girl that works in a gym, that's just a complete red flag. Not because there's nothing wrong with girls working in the gym, I think it's great, but I go to the gym all the time. Whether it's a guy personal trainer or a girl, the clients or whatever, people, especially if a girl's a pretty girl in the gym, they always get attention from guys. And then it works the other way around. If a guy's a good-looking personal trainer, he'll always be flirting with his clients. Yeah. So it's just like, forget that. Next, I wouldn't want to date a girl who's like maybe behind a bar. Cause I feel like they'd be getting a lot of attention from guys.
Yeah.
And then maybe I wouldn't want to date a girl who's I think those are probably the only two that I wouldn't be too keen on. What about you? What kind of industries would you not want to date from, like a guy?
I'm saying TV, but I'd never write it off.
Okay.
I think that's like an insecurity. But if I was so secure in my relationship, then I just have to trust him.
100%.
Like you said, anyone could cheat anywhere. So as much as people do move like that, if I got a partner in TV and he went away for a month, I just have to have faith that he's not gonna. And if he does, then he's not the one. And I do think PTs as well, because I have
personal trainers
dated PTs, or like been to PTs where they've moved mad with me, and then we've seen we've seen them with other girls as well, and I think, I wish our girl. I don't
personal trainers are like, they're fit, they're good looking. It's just like they're gonna get attention. Do you know what I mean?
And like obviously being your personal trainer, they're very handsy. So like if I was his girl at home, I'll like. So I've been to Magic Mike a few times, and most of these men have girls, and I just like, I couldn't imagine my boyfriend going and like giving like really intense lap dances to girls.
So you wouldn't want a guy that's like a male dancer or something? Of course,
probably not. No, I don't know.
You wouldn't want
maybe after seeing it a few times, I'd be over it, because these guys are so respectful, and like it's not like a strip club. Like they've still got their clothes on when they're dancing. So to them, it's a job and it's an entertainment job.
Yeah, it's just a job. Yeah.
But I think the first time it'd be hard to see.
Yeah. So is that it? So you're saying personal trainer. I feel like there's more with men. I feel like there's less with women. I feel like I always see these lists, like girls wouldn't date a guy that's like maybe a DJ or something. Or maybe I don't know, what's like a red flag job for guys?
I think like DJing, that's all like TV entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Because it's all like freelance, you meet loads of people, you go to these places, actors.
Maybe an athlete or something. But then I feel like if you're a girl, I feel like you can sort of not let the excuse of cheating, but if a guy's like a really top level footballer, and he's like on 200 grand a week, I think it'd be hard to sort of kick him out. I feel like, you know, look how many times Wayne Rooney cheated on Collie, and they've been together since they were like 16, 17.
But that's
she's never going to leave. Do you know what I mean?
That's why you always have your own profession and your own thing, because God forbid your man cheats and then you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
How would, like, I couldn't live like that.
Yeah.
If
she
my
does
man cheats,
I mean, he clearly loves her, but he does cheat on her. So it's just like,
no, you can't love someone if you're cheating on them.
I used to think that as well, but I think you can.
No.
Because, this is I mean, I would never do this because I'm not a cheater, but I think that, say if you've been together from you're like 15, 16, and you're like a famous footballer, and you get all the attention from women, and like you slip up every now and then. I don't think that's right. I think it's wrong, but I can understand why. And I can understand why these women always take them back. Because I reckon Wayne and Colleen, for example, all these... They all do it. Like all of these athletes, all of these singers, they all do it. Like look at Beckham. I don't know if you've seen the Beckham documentary. Like he's cheating on Victoria for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean? But like.
But then in my head, with Victoria having her own stuff, she was a Spice Girl. She's successful. She had.
And he still cheated on her.
It's just love, isn't it? Then she must love him. There's no other reason as to why she needed to take him back, because she could have her own success.
No, I know she does love him, but I'm saying I think he loves her as well. But he cheated on her, so it's like.
But then, like in my head, whenever I've never really probably been in love, but if I've been locked in with someone, I could be in a room with Anthony Joshua and I would not, like, it wouldn't sway me.
Is that your celebrity crush?
Yeah,
I feel like every girl likes Anthony Joshua. He's big, he's strong.
He's beautiful.
But it's funny how preferences work, because, for example, my older sister, she thinks he's a good looking guy, but she doesn't like guys that are like that sort of pretty boy, light skin. She likes guys who are like dark and like not as like sort of pretty kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like I even worked with a girl like that. She like we were good friends. We used to work together at Sainsbury's. She would say the same thing. I was like, what about Anthony Joshua? She's like, no, I like guys who are like dark. And I'm like, I'm like a bit rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
And I was
he looks quite groomed.
He is he's like a Greek god. But like it's funny how types work.
Yeah.
Like for example, do you know who I think is good looking, but I just do not find her attractive at all. Like she's actually stunning, but I don't find her, Zendaya.
Really?
She's gorgeous, but I don't find her attractive at all. Like, at all.
Wait, as in, you think she's, like, conventionally attractive?
She's beautiful. Like, she's got a beautiful face. But I don't find her... She does nothing for me.
Okay.
I just don't, like...
Who does, then, celebrities?
I like Dua Lipa. I like Georgia Smith.
Really? Oh, Georgia Smith's gorgeous.
I like... Do you know... Like, I got so many. Like, when I was younger, I used to love Rihanna. Sofia Vergara. Do you know Salma Hayek?
Yeah.
She's like older, but like...
But Zendaya's got a similar vibe to all of them, so what's different?
No, I don't think she does.
Do you not think?
No, I don't find... I just don't... Something about it, like, she's obviously good looking. Like, conventionally, like, she's beautiful. But I don't find... Just never found her attractive.
That's so fair. Well, mine's either, like, Anthony Joshua or H. Like, I just don't have an in-between.
That is completely...
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, do you like Skepta? Because girls love Skepta.
stunning,
So he's
like
just
ridiculous.
Yeah, girls love him as well. So it's like you could kind of have a, but like you like a bit of everything. Like yeah. Okay, what about like who else do girls like? Who do girls like? Who's like a popular one that girls like?
Like Channing Tatum and that. They're like the big figures. Like Beckham used to be Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Like
Harry Styles, do you like him?
No.
A lot of girls fancy him.
Zayn Malik though.
But he's a good looking guy. Girls like him.
Unreal.
Who else is there? There's
I think Harry's conventionally attractive, but I don't.
When I remember being at school,
like
all the girls fancied him.
Yeah,
but he's got kind of a weird style.
Yeah. So how you feel about Zendaya is how I feel about him.
Like yeah, he's really good looking, but you don't fancy him.
Yeah.
What's another one that girls like? I just had one. Well, okay, not all of the girls like him, but he was in Skins, the Asian guy. Dev Patel, what about him? He's good looking.
He's beautiful as well.
But do you find him like... Because girls are weird. I feel girls are different to men in that respect. I feel like women actually don't care about looks as much as men.
Yeah, I was going to say Dev Patel...
If you're a nice person, I feel like girls will just like you.
Maybe if I met him and he had like a really nice aura about him.
He's a good looking
But
guy.
he is very good looking, definitely.
And the other guy that... I'm trying to think, who did I like? Like... When you were younger, did you like Justin Bieber?
Yes, loved him.
Girls always
loved
fancied
him, like unhealthily so. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. So I don't.
So you don't really have like a specific.
No.
Yeah.
And now I've got older, it's so much more like personality.
Okay.
If I can't talk to you, if you don't make me laugh.
But I feel like that's everyone though, because I feel like whether. Obviously, if a girl's like a 10 out of 10, but she's got no chat, then you're not going to fancy it. But if a girl's not as, say, good looking as her, but me personally, I need to be physically attracted to you to date you.
100%.
Whereas I feel like women are a bit more lenient, where they'll be like, yeah, he might not be the best looking guy, but he's funny and he's got good chat. Women don't care as much. And then I think that makes them physically attracted to you. Whereas with me, I think, and a lot of guys, if you're like funny and we really get on, that won't make me physically attracted to you. Do you know what I mean? You need to be already. I need to find you already like attractive, and then you need to have that. I know it's shallow, but like that's just how it is.
So now you're older, you're looking for like what qualities are you wanting in your wife? Like if you want to get settled down, what are you looking
in particular,
for?
Like actually, one thing that I think is a bit of a deal breaker is some common interests, like some things that you can, cause instead of everyone can go out for a drink and go to like a restaurant, but little things that you can maybe do together that you might, we really like this certain show, or we really like something that we can do, like a niche interest or something like that, or maybe we do this together, or we exercise together, we do this, we do that. Little things that you find both interesting that you can do together, I think is a key sort of quality. But everyone's different. Some people don't really care about that. I feel like a lot of girls will like, I feel like men have a very sort of blurred perception to what women actually like. Yeah, I feel like women don't, I mean, some women do, I guess, but most women won't care that you've got like a nice car, or they don't care that you've got like a, I don't know, really big muscles or whatever, or I don't know, what's like a stereotypical thing that, maybe money, but I guess money, women do like guys with money. They will only date guys with money, so I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to have like, you need to have stuff in common with them. So like, even if you were having like 3 dates and you were sober and you didn't want to have a drink, you still want to like be able to chat to them. Yeah,
someone that you can have like, did you see this? Did you watch this? Like similar, you know, when you just get on with somebody. Say someone that you can sort of like, they're kind of like your friend. So I feel like it's good to have key similar interests. And also, I'll tell you another good thing is you really want to date someone. This is whether you're a guy or a girl who has got like friends. So, because I don't think you don't want them to be like following you around 24/7.
100%, especially if you're dating when you're younger, because you don't want to get to like 35 and be sick of them. Yeah,
100%, definitely.
Do you care about height? As a like if you're dating someone, do you want them?
I don't think I'd date a girl taller than me.
Really?
I mean,
if it was Sofia Vergara,
she's shorter than me.
I don't think she is.
She is.
I don't think
she definitely is.
Are you sure?
I'm 5'9". She's definitely like 5'6", 5'7".
I feel like she looks taller on Modern Family.
Because she wears heels in every episode. That's like part of the show. Like she's always wearing heels.
Okay, fine.
No, I'd rather date with someone who's my height or shorter. Actually, not shorter. Like, so I'm 5'9". Mm-hmm. I'd rather date a girl that's shorter than me. What about you? I feel like most girls care about if a guy's taller than them, or at least the same height. I think.
I don't think
that's a bad thing, by the way.
No, I've dated people who are my height, but I don't know, because I'm quite short anyway.
How tall are you?
5'1".
But the thing is, if that's where it kind of changes. Actually, if I was say you're 5'1",
Yeah.
if I was 5 foot,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, or I was 5'1" and I dated a girl that was 5'2", it wouldn't matter to me because we're both small.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're a guy that's average height who's 5'8", 5'9", if you date a girl who's 6 foot, it just looks ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it just looks so dumb.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're really tall or really short, it's fine. Because if you're 6'3" and you go out with a girl that's 6'4",
Yeah.
no one will notice.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm 5'9", it's like, it sounds so dumb, but a guy that's 5'9" is like average height, but a girl that's 5'9" is tall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like it's not a massive deal breaker, but I'd rather go with a girl that's my height.
What would be your tallest?
Tallest? Actually, the last girl I went out with, she was 5'8", so she was an inch shorter than me.
Oh,
so that is fine for me. But if she was 5'10", I wouldn't have gone out with her.
Oh, okay.
Which is dumb. But like, okay, what about you? What are some of your deal breakers when it comes to that kind of stuff?
I do think height's slightly important. Like, I know I'm short, but I just think I would feel like I was going to crush him if I was like same height as me. I want him a little bit bigger.
Okay. Okay, so you wouldn't want a guy that's like 6 foot then? Or if he was really big?
Actually.
Yeah,
I wouldn't care if he was like
because I would kind of think if I was a girl, if I was small, I don't know if I'd want to go out with a guy that was like 6'4".
So that's where
it's like a big height discrepancy, and it's like he would be so much bigger than me.
That's where all like anyone I've dated before has been like between 5'10" to 6'3", which I think that's where I'm going wrong.
That's like 9 inches.
Because it does look a bit silly sometimes, like when we're walking around.
I don't think you can worry about that. I would just. Do you know what? To be honest, it doesn't. If I was a girl, to be honest, if the guy's taller than me, that's all that really matters. I don't think I'd date a guy that's shorter than me.
But like talking to them, like it's just uncomfortable. Like I don't know. Sometimes it is irritating. So I don't think that tall, but I want him to be noticeably taller than me.
Yeah. So like, if you're 5'1", you want a guy that's like at least 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
Really?
Anything above that.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. What else? Do you have any other deal breakers? Or like not necessarily deal breakers, but things that you would like.
They need to be funny. If I can't laugh with them, like I'm gonna be so irritated. Like I need them to have a good sense of humour. Yeah. I need them to just have good morals. Like I want them to be kind. Like one of a really good judge thing for me is if we go to a restaurant like on a first date.
Yeah.
If they tip the waiter. Or tip the waitress.
Just basic manners, basically.
Yeah, and they're polite to people because I think it's such a turn off if they're not.
If they're not,
and because I was a waitress once as well, I know how important that is.
Yeah,
but just being
just
nice.
General like nice people, like to like customer service people, and so just politeness. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a good one.
All of that, and someone who wants to do something with their life. Like I couldn't care less what your job is, as long as it's stable, it helps you get through life. You're able to save with it. And you're like you enjoy it, like it's like you want to do something. I'd never be that person that would be like, oh, you're a plumber, I'd never date you. I couldn't.
They make good money though.
Exactly, but I couldn't give a shit.
Okay, so would you not want to go out with a guy that say they might not like their job, but they make a lot of money? So like a lot of my friends, they make good money, but for them, they're not passionate about it. That's just their job, and they work in the city.
If they weren't miserable, then fine.
Yeah.
But if they were miserable and they came home and they're in a bad mood every day and took out on the relationship because they're not happy in their job, then I wouldn't give a shit.
Okay, what if they didn't like their job, but they can separate it from like their personal life?
Then that's fine.
Because I know people that are just like, I work to have a good life. Yeah. I don't work because I'm passionate about insurance or finance. They do it because I just want to have a good life. Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah, then that's fine. As long as they wouldn't...
Obviously, we're kind of different working in TV. We're doing something that we're passionate about and we really enjoy. And it's different. Whereas most people's jobs, most people probably don't like their jobs. No. But they're doing it because I need to pay bills and I've got kids or I need to make my life better. Yeah. So I can understand that. But yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I think if it didn't affect your home life, like if he came home every day and he was miserable and like grumpy and upset, then I wouldn't be able to do it.
What about tattoos? Yay or nay?
Love tattoos.
You like tattoos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Do you have tattoos?
Yeah, I have these two here.
Okay.
Everyone in my family has their own.
That's I recognise that. That's
the
Hindu.
Yeah. Signs. All of most of my family have it.
Yeah.
This one I got matching with my friend.
Nice.
And then these two. This is my birth sign, Capricorn.
Nice.
And then this one's angel numbers, supposed to be protection from the universe.
So would you? So that wouldn't be because I used to be really. I would never mind tattoos like that, but I would felt really used to not like when girls had like sleeves. It would really put me off.
Okay.
And now I don't mind them as much. I do kind of like tattoos, but before I would be like, they are just disgusting. I don't have any tattoos myself, but I used to really find them unattractive.
Yeah.
So yeah. What else? What else to like? girls like?
Yeah, tattoos I wouldn't care. Beard, I don't really care.
Yeah, okay. Do you like beards? Do you not like beards?
Don't think it bothers me.
Right.
I think it would be different, like meeting someone with a beard and seeing them shaved. You obviously do look different.
Yeah, some people would look better without the beards. Like they grow one, and like for example, I look way better without one because I can grow one, but then it's very patchy, so I just give up. I mean, I'm gonna shave tomorrow because I usually shave once a week, but I haven't shaved for like 2 weeks. This is long for me, but it takes me so long to grow one.
Fine.
Like I didn't shave last year. I remember I shaved my face in July. And then I didn't shave my face again until, I want to say, like, maybe November, I think. I didn't shave for like 4 or 5 months. But I had a beard, but it was patchy. So I just feel like it just looks ridiculous.
See, I think it looks nice on you.
No, but this is all right because it's just stubble. But, like, when I had it, like, grown, it was longish, but then you'd see a gap here and a gap. I just thought it looked a bit silly.
Yeah.
So I was just like, forget this. I can't be arsed.
Yeah, I think it depends on like how you meet them, and it is a difference. Like you do, I think it makes people look younger. Like it changes your face shape.
Yeah.
So,
some people it really suits. If I could grow like one fully, I'd like to see what I think it would look alright on me. But for me, it just doesn't work out.
See, I don't think I'd want anyone with long hair. But
oh, really? I feel like girls like the long hair.
Not really, but then Pete Wicks would be like an ideal man for me as well. So
is he he's the fitness guy?
No, he's the guy from Towie.
Who's the guy that does the home?
That's Joe Wicks.
Joe Wicks.
Yeah,
okay,
Pete Wicks is like.
Who's Pete Wicks?
Do you know Sam Thompson? And he does a podcast as well.
He's the one that was with the girl from. Sam Thompson. He done Soccer Aid.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He was on Made in Chelsea, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
so his best friend is Pete Wicks, and he started on the.
Is he like the really big buff guy? And he's like muscly and...
That's Lockie. But, you know what, let me show you him.
Show me.
Pete's really handsome, like, tattooed. He's quite small, actually.
Pete, the name does sound familiar.
Yeah. Let me show you. So, he would be, like, an ideal... And I don't really like long hair.
You don't really like long hair?
But I think he's an exception.
I feel like it's one of those things, if you can pull it off as a guy...
This guy.
That's what I was on about.
Oh, is
That's
it?
what I was on about.
Fine, yeah.
Because he was on that show, Bad Boyfriends. He come on and...
yes, because he's friends with Olivia Atwood.
Yeah, my mate was on that show as a contestant.
Was he?
Yeah.
God forbid.
He was on there as a contestant.
Really?
So the company I'm at now, Optimum, they make that show. I had no idea.
It's a mental concept.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my mate said he had no idea. Like,
really?
He had zero idea.
Oh,
he
God.
thought it was a completely different show.
How does he feel now? Is he still...
Oh, he was glad he done it.
Is he still with her?
No, they broke up recently. But he loved it. He loved it. He said it was really good. And it was a fun show. And do you know what was funny? The producer of the show was Grace, who was the producer on Big Brother. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea that my mate was on it and she was the producer. It was just crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that. I don't know if I was having problems in my relationship, I'm not going on TV.
I think most of them got. I don't know how they all. I think a lot of them got casted through like they got found. Some people applied, but my mate was telling me his girlfriend they found her on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
And they just reached out to them.
Yeah.
So
that is most casting nowadays.
Yeah. Have you done casting?
Yeah. So I was basically when I finished development, I did casting then until Soccer Aid. That was my first creative role. So
casting for who?
I started off Dinner Date, then I did Ambulance, then I did Pointless, and then I did My Mum, Your Dad.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying. Do you know what's funny actually? I was never when I first started doing TV. I was never like found it interesting, but I think casting's quite. And I kind of want to. I always see these casting researcher jobs, but I'm like, I can't really apply. I don't have any casting. You'd be
excellent casting.
Do you know what did put me off? So I don't know if you got to meet any of the people that worked on Big Brother when you were there. Did you get to meet any of them?
I knew Harrison, who was one of the casting team.
Oh, you met some of the casting team. Did you meet Hayden?
No.
He was a really nice guy. But he was he's from up north as well. Actually, tall mixed race Manchester guy.
No, I don't know him.
Really nice guy. But he does the casting on Big Brother with like a lot of the others. And I remember them when we were interns, they were showing us how they do it. And it does look really cool. But the reason why I feel like I would struggle is because you need to have the same energy from person number 1 to person 300 at the end of the day.
Oh my God, it's socially exhausting. Yeah. And also, I don't know, you'd be an excellent caster because you're personable, like you're easy to get along with, you make people trust you. But you don't really get creative input, which is why I much prefer this side now. Like, you can cast a show from start to finish, which is the one thing I didn't enjoy, and you don't get to see it unfold. So, like, a lot of the time they'll have the casting team on,
and that's it.
And then they don't get to go to the location, they don't get to go to the shoot, so they just do the casting.
You should do casting on Big Brother then, because they're there the whole time. Because they go on to welfare when they're done.
That would be great. That's what I would enjoy. I would have enjoyed casting more if you could go and do the creative side. So when I had my interview for Soccer Aid, I was like, oh, I know I'm doing the research, but do I get to go and do like the shoot? And he was like, yeah, that's the main part.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like on my side, that never happened.
Oh, you
really.
should do that. You should definitely do that this year. Like, I can put you in touch with some people. So the guy that's head of casting this guy called Jay.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it. He works in it even when the casting's done. Like, he's one of the execs. Like,
Yeah.
he's involved with everything. Really good guy. And I'm surprised you didn't meet him. You probably saw him. You would have definitely seen him when you were there. He's that tall Indian guy, and he had like a hat. He would always wear like a hat or a hoodie.
I
and
don't
he was
know.
so.
I don't think I paid attention to anything.
Oh, really?
Because our role was so busy and it was
Yeah.
such a small period of time. I don't think I saw many people in the office.
Yeah, the casting, they're really nice actually. I'll try and like, because they're starting next week. But yeah, I think, you'd be good on casting on like Big Brother or Love Island. I feel like you'd be really good on something like that. I feel like you should do it.
It is hard though as well. Like I don't know if I do enjoy casting, and if I had to go back to it, I would. But I much prefer the creative side, like
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
do now and
definitely.
what I did on Soccer Aid.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
definitely.
I think you would feel that as well. Like if you did casting, you'd enjoy it on a show like Big Brother, where you can actually watch your casting unfold.
Yeah.
Whereas other shows that I'd done, you probably wouldn't enjoy it because you don't get to see any of it after.
Right, yeah, that is interesting.
Because a lot of Love Island as well, they'll cast and then their contract finishes, so they don't get to go out.
Oh, really? Do they
Yeah.
not?
So then it's like it's almost anticlimactic.
Yeah.
That's the same with Britain's Got Talent. Like they don't come to the auditions and see the acts.
Yeah. This lady I'm working with now, she said she'd done welfare on Love Island last year. She said it was fun but intense kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. What's her name?
Harpreet.
Oh, okay, yeah,
she's really nice.
it is because you have to. It's crazy hours. So like when they film the recouplings, that could be from like 1 a.m. till 6 a.m. and you have to stay up the whole time with them, and that's when the contestants are at the most vulnerable, and you have to be
you get
there.
dumped and stuff, and people,
have
there's
to
always,
talk.
and obviously in a show like that, it's very volatile. There's arguments all the time.
Exactly, and then the welfare
emotional,
team
yeah.
also go with them when they're dumped to start preparing them for what life's going to be like outside, depending on what reaction they got.
Oh my
So
God.
it is like you have to be on it.
Yeah.
You can't think about anything of your own life on shows
100%.
like that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I don't want to finish, but we kind of. I mean, we got.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Do you know what,
what's
we
the
have to
time?
do it again sometime. Like when we're
We
not
need
working as much,
to.
we'll do it again. What time is it?
9:30.
Oh my God, we did it talking for an hour and a half. Okay, we'll wrap this up now, but then we'll
Yeah.
definitely do it again in a few
Yeah,
weeks.
let's do it.
Thank
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
That was amazing.
That was so much fun.
Genuinely could have done that all day.
Oh.